The 1st of May is internationally observed as Labor Day. It is celebrated the world over to acknowledge workers and their role in our society. From time immemorial, those who were involved with physical labor in fields and factories and farming were often the most disadvantaged. They were made to work very hard but paid minimally. And we find the description of this category of people in the earliest times, in the days of the Pharaoh in the Bible, to contemporary times when we have heard so many stories about slavery in the United States. What is this word labor? The word labor itself is about hard work, often so hard that it is more than required. Therefore, it indicates an expenditure of physical or mental effort with a lot of difficulty. The working class was by default meant to work extremely hard. So hard that they would get very little time to spend with their family, and they were exploited. Gradually, the labor movement came into being to give the workers their rights to wages, time, health, and equity. It was celebrated for the first time in 1923. There's also a medical connotation to the word labor. As we all have heard, some woman goes into labor. The medical term labor connotes painful contractions of the uterus during childbirth. And ask any lady, it is hard work, it is a lot of pain, it's a lot of crying, and it's somehow called being in labor. Right at the beginning of God's creation, we find God mandating hard work for Adam and Eve. When things went wrong, He told them that you would have to work very hard to earn their living, and that has been the pattern all throughout human history. We then find the sad plight of Israelites slogging it out in Egypt till God delivered them from bondage. But for 40 long years, as they sojourned, as they transitioned from Egypt to their own promised land, they still had to labor hard throughout their journey. What is the Christian perspective on those who work hard? In the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 11, verse 28, we hear Jesus saying, "Come unto me, those who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." We also find Jesus in different circumstances very sensitive to many in his life journey, who he found them tired after a day's work. We find him sympathizing with his disciples when they had spent all night fishing, laboring away, fishing, and having caught nothing, as described in the Gospel of St. John, chapter 21. We find him providing food to many who had spent one whole day with him, listening to his messages. We find him providing resource to many in different kinds of need. I think Jesus' message may be emphasizing on three aspects as far as our workers are concerned. Number one is to be sensitive to them, to empathize in fixing their entitlements. We must be sensitive not to exploit them, but to be fair and just. Number two is to be kind to them, to be compassionate. If we find someone struggling with the amount of work given, or being in pain, or unable to do some work because of some circumstance, it is our duty, like Jesus, to be concerned and compassionate. Number three is to be fair to them. And this whole labor movement throughout human history has been of wanting justice and fairness to the labor class. It is to abolish that steepness of the gradient, the steepness of the socio-economic gradient. And we can say that as we stand today in society, there's a lot more consciousness about that labor ethic. So if we are true followers of Jesus and wish to be Christ-like, we should be emulating his empathy for those who toiled hard, because they contribute to our well-being and our welfare. They make our lives complete, so our empathy for them must extend beyond the 1st of May into the rest of the year as well. Labor Day is more than a day. It must become a way of life for us, just like it was for our Lord Jesus Christ in his ministry on earth. God bless you, and wish all those who are working a happy International Labor Day.